Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Ham Nation, episode 12, August the 9th, 2011. We talk about amateur radio television. Hello, everybody. This is a very special Ham Nation. It's a program about ham radio. But tonight, it's a program that we've been waiting to do for a long time. Well, 12 shows ago, but really it festered many months before that. I kind of think it kind of festered years before that. I'm Bob Heil, K9EID, and I have with me tonight my co-host, which is Gordon West. Gordon's down in Costa Mesa. Gordo.
Hello, world. And we're at our new studio, thanks to George and Rosie and Susie, and new bandwidth, thanks to Leo for telling me I was slow. We've now speeded it up, and we're happy to be with you, Bob, and glad to have Don on board as well.
Yeah, you look great. Don Hill is here. He'll come back in a while. We're going to talk about amateur television, amateur radio television. It's a fascinating part of this hobby. But first of all, I had another little thing planned, but sometimes recording studios get in the way. And I want you to listen to this, Leo. Let's see if you can hear this.
I've never heard of that happening. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Joe Walsh, WB6ACU, and I want to wish you, Leo, I want to wish you congratulations on your new ham call, and welcome to the community. I look forward to talking to you on the air, and I look forward to being on the show again here in the next week or two. Again, congratulations. Let everybody know it's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of work. And you can be in the wonderful world of ham radio with Leo and the rest of us. That's it. Thanks.
That's great. Was he on ham when he said that?
No, that he was on the telephone. We had this all worked out today. He was going to come in and be an FCC official.
Yeah, Leo, you've got to give your call sign. Remember, every 10 minutes, let her rip, Leo. That call sign.
This is W6TWT, Whiskey 6 Tango Whiskey Tango. Hello! Yay! You know, I passed the technician exam about a month ago and got, as you guys know, I got call signs. I think, was it Gordo who said ick when I told him what the call sign was? So you guys have been very helpful. I get the two best Elmers in the world, and they told me, hey, you can get this vanity call sign. And I went to w5yi.org, and they were great there, and they helped me set it all up. And today, this morning, I got an email from Bob saying, check the ULS. You got it. So we have really, I mean, this is a nice call sign, I think.
This is a great call sign. I looked around. Gordon and I were looking when you first started looking in Gordon's manuals, and we knew that this was going to happen. And we looked around, and several other things popped up. But then I found that TWT was empty. Gordo went and checked it, and sure enough, it was. So he put a hold on it for 30 days, and you made it. So we're so thrilled.
Oh, I just love it.
Perfect.
So now I have to go out and get QSL cards, right? I don't know how this happened, but I already have two QSLs from Hams. I got one. I got one from Chuck, who's just a couple of blocks away. He's N6 OJ, the Redwood Empire DX Association director. And Chuck Turns, and he sent me a QSL, which was nice, but it was what they call a visual QSL. He came over. And this one is kind of cool. This is from W8ROI, Ralph O. Irish, another vanity call sign. And he's in the Tin Lizzy Club. You see the Ford and the Model T on there? It's the Ford Amateur Radio League. He's in Utica, Michigan. So that is really, really great.
Leo, you see, ham radio has all of these what we call nets. And all they are is, I always look at them like pulling a chair up around a potbelly stove. There you have a group that gets on and they like Model A's and classic cars. You have others that they like to fiddle with photography. You have another group that were World War II pilots. There's getting a few not there anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But all of these interest groups are there, just about any interest you have, and they meet at a specific time, some of them every day, some of them every week, and that way you get to share your other hobby with ham radio through ham radio. It's pretty cool.
This is neat. Now, I guess you can get QSL on the internet too now. You don't have to have physical cards printed up. Is that right?
Well, I'm a fuddy-duddy. I'm sorry. I like those good old things that you go down to the post office to see what came in every
I
day.
think so too. I think so too.
Gordo,
Yeah.
you
Keep that post office in business. Oh, look at that.
This is W4ABC.
Okay.
He
All
just
right.
sent me
There's some great-
an internet QSL. This is his on his website.
Those are nice.
Yeah, and I like the poster, the pinup poster. That's
Very nice.
That's so
Very
great, isn't it? So,
That'll look good in the new studio. And Leo, what a great looking studio. Looks like the Oval Office.
Thank you, Gordo. Well, wait till you see our corner. I'm calling it Radio Corner because ICOM is sending us, I'm just blown away, some amazing gear, including a 7800. That's why I have to get my General next week, because I've got to be able to get on the high frequency bands. Also a 9100 and a 2820. And we're just going to have the most beautiful setup there. And some of these local Redwood Empire DXers have helped me. And in fact, we're going to get, and I think it's a Cushman R5 antenna on the roof, I think it is. So we're going to have some, and I want to build some dipoles later too. So
No, you're going to end up, as I understand, with a stepper IR.
Oh, is that what I'm getting?
Oh my! Now for the opening, Chuck, the guy you just
silly.
held his part up there.
Yeah.
Chuck and the guys are preparing. I think it's an A. Is it an A4, Gordo, or an A3?
I think it was an A5.
A4.
A4. Okay. Okay.
Okay, that's a tri-band antenna that we'll be able to work a little bit from. But your antenna that's going to end up there, Chuck and the guys are talking about a stepper. This is an incredible piece of technology. It has motors in it, and it tunes the bands from 40 meters all the way up to 6 meters.
Wow.
And you just push a button, and the computer down here tells the little servo motors where to stop, and it tunes it on each band. It's really fabulous.
Well, I just got to say, because I know people are saying, well, geez, Leo, you just got your license a month ago, and you got like the creme de la creme. But this isn't for me. I want to put out an invitation to any hams who come to Northern California to please come to Petaluma, and you can use this ICOM gear and get a QSL and do a little broadcasting for yourself from our sweet setup. You could even do a little DXing or contesting if you're around at the right time.
Leo, that's exactly why Gordon and I put some effort to this,
Thank
just
you.
so everybody knows. This is not a thing for Leo to have for himself.
Well, wait a minute.
I look at this.
Okay,
look-
maybe after hours I'll play with it.
Yeah, I look at
I
this
hope
like
so.
like the Queen Mary. You know, you can go to the Queen Mary, and they have an incredible setup there. And I think we need that at the Twit Studios so that visitors, and you have a lot of visitors, and now that Ham Nation's fired up and people know that all of this is in the corner, they're going to want to come there and work a couple of people, just like we do in Newington at the ARRL headquarters, W1AW. Don't you look at it like that, Gordon? I think it is.
I think it is. Well, this is great. And Leo, we're so pleased to have you aboard as part of the fraternity. And as you heard at the very beginning of the broadcast, we've got a very special show tonight in that you're on television, ham radio, TV. Bob?
Yeah, that's great. Leo, I wanted to let you know also, you have a couple of things coming. I just heard today from Mick at Comet Antennas. He is getting one of their I think it's 6 or 9, I forget which model, getting it up to Chuck and the guys. So you'll have a dual band, 2 meter and 440. That's 2 different VHF and UHF bands on
Right.
one antenna.
Right.
And he's sending that up for you.
That'll be for the 2820, right?
That's for, yes, and we can also use it on the 9100.
That does everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got something else for you, Leo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Mike Doro.
Mike Doro sent this in. Hello.
Holy cow.
Oh,
and,
my goodness.
That's a
you can
loudness
see
monster.
Yeah, you can see mine.
That's a lot of VUs.
up there in the back.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
Mike wants you to have this. He thinks that a loudness meter would be apropos. So there you go. And I'll see that gets out of here tomorrow. So
Well,
they'll
that's-
have that.
That's not all I'm getting from Mike, as you well know. Should I tell people what else we're getting from Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because so our AM corner is not just going to be, our radio corner is not just going to be the ICOM gear and the great Doro meter. It's also going to be a classic, is it a Collins transmitter?
Yes, a 550.
A classic Collins transmitter that Mike apparently restores.
Yes.
So it's
He goes into old radio stations that throw out their old stuff. I mean, he's got stuff from KFI and KGO and wherever. And they say, well, we want the new solid state stuff. And they take all these old things. They're beautiful Art Deco. And that's just the epitome of what's going on in the AM community today. Joe Walsh has a number of them. And that's mainly where Joe operates, is on AM with his Collins gear. And now you will have one in the corner of the Twit studio.
as well as a classic old knob mixer. I'm thinking I take that great Heil Fin mic, put that on the knob mixer, fire up the Collins on the, what is it, 160 meter band?
On 75.
Yeah.
75? Okay. And maybe I'll do a little radio show. No music.
That's great.
Well, they do
Well, you
that
have
on
television as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I have to say, for a long time, we thought Gordo was on slow scan television. Because we were getting about one frame a minute from you. But look how great that. Thank you for upgrading your bandwidth. You look. Hey, look at this. This is a movie star. This is gorgeous. High def, baby.
Well, that's thanks to Don Arnold. Got us on as well. So a lot of hams jumped in to save me from freezing up any further.
Thank you.
That's great. Well, Leo, a few weeks ago, I don't remember if you were around, but we were talking about different antennas, and one of the things that a number of guys use are slinkies. You know what a slinky is?
I know the toy.
Yes.
They use slinky toys?
Yes, as an antenna. Here's one that's inside.
Now, is that a half wave? What are you doing there?
Well, you can configure it any way. And the other day, I was on 20 meters on the same frequency that Roy Neal. I'm sure you maybe have known Roy before he passed on. Every morning, he held court on 20 meters, and his group is still there. And I talked to this guy, and the guy had a pair of slinkies and made a dipole out of them.
Wow.
And I want you guys to hear from California to Illinois what a slinky and about 100 watts did. Check this out. This is too cool.
Okay, fine business, Bob. K9EID from WB6 for Queen Nancy Sugar, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Well, we're running a TS440 barefoot, and as a side note, running the hand mic that comes with it. I desperately need a real microphone. Hi. Running barefoot into a Slinky Junior antenna dipole up 20 feet above a tin roof. So I'm getting everything's going straight to the skyway. There's no ground wave involved at all. And I thank the folks at MSJ for
Notice he's fading away. He's going to come back.
on the antenna without it, Bob. You're looking at K9EID from WB6 Queen.
Now, was that fun or what?
That's great. Wow.
A slinky. So see, just all kinds of things work, and we just try them. We're not afraid to try anything.
Sure. Not the plastic slinkies. Those wouldn't work. You need the metal ones.
No, that doesn't work. But I'm going to take a couple of minutes here because you're getting ready to study for your next test.
Yes.
One of the things that you have to learn is Ohm's law. And you see, I hate all this mathematical gibberish, but you have to learn all those, and you have to really understand.
You do.
E is, of course, voltage.
Right.
I is current, and R is resistance. And years ago, somebody's told me, well, here, you do this kind of thing. You remember this chart.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Gordo's got a much easier chart in his book, I can tell.
And then the guy said, let's do this one. It's a lot
There you
easier.
go. That's basically what Gordo's got.
Well,
EIR and PIE, right, Gordo?
Well,
That's it.
That's it. But we're going to do it a little different. Every one of you listening to us tonight, every one of you is going to know Ohm's law in about 2 minutes.
Oh, good.
And it's going to be done with an with an indent, with an eagle, and with a rabbit.
EIR.
Okay? Now, here you go. Follow me on this. You need to know those three things. An eagle for voltage,
Right.
an indent for current, and an R for, of course, resistance. But we look at them as an eagle, an indent, and a rabbit. Now, think about it. If an eagle sees an indent and a rabbit, they're both on the same plane, aren't they?
The same plane.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Walking
Yeah.
down,
I think we got it.
Okay, eagle.
down on round. So
Rabbit.
it's E equals IR.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yep.
The eagle
Yep,
is looking
yep.
down. They're on the same plane. But now when the indent sees the eagle and the rabbit, what happens there?
Eagle's
The
above
eagle
the
is
rabbit. Yeah.
Always above it.
Yeah.
The eagle always flies over the rabbit. And when the rabbit looks out, what's he going to see? An indent and an eagle. What's going to happen with those guys?
Oh.
They're going to be, eagle is always over the indent. And so you just think about what we went through here. R equals E over I. You with me on all this?
Yeah.
I is the eagle over the rabbit. And then, of course, the eagle, when he flies, he sees everybody on the same plane. And you never forget Ohm's law again. It's very simple with the eagle, the indent,
I like
and
it.
rabbit.
And you'll need that in your technician exam. They ask you a lot of
need that.
questions about that.
Need that on everything you do in ham
Yeah.
radio. It's
Yeah.
really very important, right, Gordon?
It is. It is.
There's a lot of complicated math in this general exam, Gordon. Fortunately, you only get one question from each section, but boy,
That's right. So not to worry.
I have all this stuff to memorize. You've got peak-to-peak power, and you got 200 watts peak-to-peak and 50 ohms, and you have to figure out, I don't know what the heck.
Oh, you'll get to it. We'll give you private coaching next week when we see you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the grand opening
I'm
of the Brick House.
excited.
Huh?
Yeah, well, hey, with any luck, I will have it Friday night, the 19th, is the general exam. So with any luck, I will have it by the grand opening.
Wow. Okay.
I'm hoping to come back with my, the CSCE in my hand so that I could sit down there and I could broadcast W6TWT stroke AG?
AG.
AG. See?
But Leo, you know what? You ought to call somebody to substitute for you on the radio show.
No, can't do that. Nope, the main man's going to do it.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's going to have so many hams there, Gordo, and all this gear's going to be going. We're going to be talking to Australia and Austria,
So
and
excited.
Alaska, and wherever, and he's going to have to go do a radio show.
Well, I'll be just on the other side of the
Cindy,
glass. I'll be
Cindy.
waving at you. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. It'll be
that'll
fun. Actually, I have to ask you, this is one concern we have, that all of this RF that's coming off of the ham shack and the antennas on the roof here, I'm worried, is it going to leak into our gear here? How do we protect ourselves?
You and I both. That's exactly why when somebody said something about a vertical, I said, oh, no. Because you don't have a way to have a good ground on that roof. And I'm going, we have to have a balun, which is a balance. That's not, and that's another thing. We'll have to get into this someday, but it takes an unbalanced signal out of the transmitter and makes a balanced signal. And a balun, B-A-L-U-N, is a balanced to unbalanced little device. And I hate it when I hear people talk about balums. No,
or
it's
balloons.
not. Yeah. Balloons.
Sometimes I say balun, so that's wrong. It's balun.
Yeah, I like balun.
Oh, am I allowed to? Gordon says it's okay to say balun.
Yeah, I think balun is okay.
I think that's what whales use to filter krill.
That's it, yeah, on whales. Yeah, filters. I like it. Well, you're going to need a balun, and several balloons to keep the RF out of that studio.
I think so.
When you see some of these great transmitters that Ray Novak's coming down.
But we're not going to use an amplifier because, Gordon, I'm listening very carefully to what you say. We're going to 200 watts is plenty for anybody.
Believe me, it will be.
Yeah.
And I see Don, our ATN guy, on my other monitor in here, and I think he's got something going for us. So back to you, Bob.
Yeah. Well, we just want to make sure we have the right balance, balanced, unbalanced, so everything's balanced, and we're going to have all the ground things, and Chuck and Bill and all the guys are going to be there Saturday to take care of that.
So excited.
Hopefully it'll work okay. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, Gordo, if Don's ready, Leo, we'll bring Don in, and he's going to talk about his amateur television. And this guy is king at producing signals on amateur radio, but they just don't talk. They do television. And a lot of people would say, well, that's what we're doing here. Yes, but we get to do it on ham radio so we can actually see each other. And they have a number of nets at night all around the country. And the guys sit, as I said, around the old potbelly stove, but they just don't talk. They can have their television, and it's very high quality. And boy, what a great piece of technology for emergency. We had that on the show a few weeks ago, if you remember. Gordon was out at an emergency camp, and they have a helicopter, and it has a television camera in it, and then they can take that picture and transmit it to all of the people down below. It's really cool. So let's see if Don is here. Don Hill. Don, are you aboard? Let's see if we can bring the mix. Oh, there he is. Greetings. It's so nice to have you. KE6BXT is his call. And
okay, well,
nice.
First of all, I'd like to thank Leo and Bob and Gordon for having me on.
Welcome, Don. It's great to have you. And I understand you've been broadcasting this broadcast over your ham frequencies.
Portions of it I'm putting on to the Amateur Television Network live.
That's cool.
But I'm TiVoing it so we can show it at our net. Our net is normally on Tuesday nights at 7:30, and so there are some people that checked in early, and I told them about the TWIT broadcast, so they're going to be looking at you on the internet. But we also have the thing on TiVo, so we can show it. I see that they put up our website for the Amateur Television Network. Right there is the invite for our summer meeting, which is coming up the third weekend of this month.
Sounds great.
And Leo, come on out. We'd love to have you.
Where is it going to be?
It's going to be up in Crestline in California.
That's great. Maybe I will come up. I'll have to come up after the radio show. When you say amateur television, are you talking NTSC 60 frames? What are you talking about? 60 fields?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow.
It would look just like what you have here on TWIT TV.
That's amazing.
Some people's cameras are not as high def as others. Just with like with high frequency or a 2-meter radio, you may have somebody that's on the fringe and just barely able to get their their picture in. But you know, with ham radio and ham TV, we can pull out those minimal signals. In fact, we have had a long distance record from Hawaii to California.
Wow.
And it was received by none other than Gordon West. And we have pictures that I sent in. I'm not sure which ones the producer has queued up, but we have pictures of the QSL card for the guy that was sending the video, as well as what Gordon's picture looks like on the receive end.
It's about 6 megahertz of bandwidth for this full NTSC signal. Is that right?
That's correct.
And
wow, really reading the book. Man,
I'm telling you, I'm memorizing this stuff, Gordo.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
6 megahertz. We're still analog. There is some digital amateur television, but the analog seems to get through better, much like what we've experienced going from analog to digital on commercial television. So hams are still sticking with the analog, and maybe we'll bring up some pictures of some analog broadcasts.
Analog
Don,
makes
back to
sense
you.
because analog degrades better than digital, you know. So, and that's one of the things about ham that you start to realize is that you can hear weak signals because they degrade. They don't just switch off.
Yeah, just like hams. We sort of degrade rather than just drop off.
Right.
Old hams never die. They just degrade slowly.
Oh, the chat room is full now.
Well, that's neat. How do you get involved in this? I'm looking at the website. We're actually still looking for those pictures. I don't know if we if we got the pictures, unfortunately, or Lynn doesn't have them. So I can't show you the pictures, but I can show you the website and encourage people to go there. It's atn-tv.org. And is this the best place to go to learn more about what's going on, your activities, and how to get involved?
Well, that's a great place to go. Also, in the upper right corner where it says links, that takes you to the amateur television directory.
Ah.
And you can see by the tabs there that we have places to buy amateur television equipment, a list of amateur television related websites or clubs around the United States and then overseas. And there's a lot of people that stream video either on a 24/7 basis or just for their nets, and so we've listed some times and days that different clubs are streaming their video on the internet. Now we stream our video to the British Amateur Television Club.
Wow.
So anybody that looks at our video on the internet, they are getting it from my house all the way to the UK and then all the way back to their house. So I'm able to do that anywhere on the road with my laptop computer. Just log on and look at the stream.
So I gather that the same rules apply to all amateur radio. We couldn't, for instance, put our broadcasts on there because we're commercial broadcasts. So we wouldn't be able to use this. A television channel can't use this. It's for amateur radio enthusiasts to talk to one another, to broadcast to one another, and to try the technology. Right.
I sent in several videos of what it's like on a typical net, and you know, if everybody's aware of Newsline, which is basically an audio broadcast of news for the previous week. Well, on the Amateur Television Network, we have something kind of like Newsline. It's called Gordo's News Behind the News, and it's always fun to see Gordo come on and let us know what convention he has been at or the Consumer Electronics Show, and then he can actually show us something. You know, he'll say, hey, I just got this really great radio at the Consumer Electronics Show or at a ham convention, or ICOM's coming out with a new radio or something like that. A half hour after our net is the SORA net, which is the South Orange Amateur Radio Association. He goes over the same things, but it just doesn't carry the same punch without the picture that goes along with it.
I was degrading at that time.
I think that's Gordo's net, isn't it? So how does a TV net work? Do you trade signals back and forth? You talk, and then somebody else's picture comes up? Is that how it works?
Right. One person can key up at a time. And while a person is sending video and audio, we also have a 2-meter frequency that somebody can come on with a mobile or handheld radio. And that audio is superimposed on the audio that is broadcast with the video.
Interesting.
So you don't have to keep dropping and then having the next person bring up their video in order to carry on a two-way conversation. You hear voices in the background, as it were.
I'm going to see if I can get these slides here, because we do, I think, now have some of your PowerPoint ATV pictures. Is that it? Let me open that up here. Go ahead and ask him some questions. I'm going to pull up some pictures here.
Okay, while you're doing that, I have an announcement that I'd like to make, because down in Australia, they're celebrating their 100 years of ham radio.
Wow.
They're having the Digital Amateur Television QSO party. And Leo, you know what QSO stands for?
I do. That's what I haven't done yet. make a call, make a connection.
Okay, well, as part of their 100th anniversary, they're going to have a Digital Amateur Television QSO party.
Fun. And
we are going to link our Santiago repeater with the other repeaters that are linked into that to their digital ATV repeaters down in Australia. And that's coming up on at 8 p.m. on Friday, August 26th in California. And that's 1 p.m. on Saturday down in Australia. So I'm really looking forward to... Oh, there I am.
What the heck is that?
TV sets.
Early TV, huh?
Right.
That's slow scan right into the eyes. Direct input, isn't it? That's amazing.
Can you see me now? Okay, there's me carrying a 900 megahertz ATV transmitter, and
that's all it takes. You could carry that around. Wow.
Very small.
This is for public safety, and the person is holding a camcorder that is plugged into it. And we just can walk around and send video back to the Emergency Operations Center. This is an open house that we had one day. On the left-hand side is my portable amateur television station. So I can just take that case with me, and a TV set is built into it.
Wow. And
we have everything we need to get on the air.
So you would just plug in a standard camcorder into that?
Yes. Anything with a NTSC composite video and audio.
So it's a composite input that you need for that. And
right.
Almost everything does a composite input. That's an easy trick. Wow, this is very cool.
Okay. This is more of the open house. We had 2 amateur television stations at the open house, so we were able to send video from one side to the other.
And Races uses amateur television as well.
Oh, yeah.
Races and Aries use it. We have 2 amateur television portable stations at the Mission Viejo Races Aries, and so we can put one in an SUV and take it on location and use the other one back at the Emergency Operations Center. In this picture, we have up right underneath the rack is the down converter and transmitter. We actually have 2 different down converters, so we can receive on a couple of different frequencies. And the down converter is like this. I have one here. If you come back to me, there's the down converter, and you just supply it with 12 to 13 volts and put an antenna on it, and it takes the signal from the broadcast frequency and puts it onto a TV channel. So this particular one is for 900 megahertz, and it goes down to TV channel 3.
And Bulletin, speaking of TV channel 3, don't throw out your old analog televisions, because we need an analog TV on either channel 3 or channel 8 to be able to receive the output of that NTSC down converter. So if you have an old TV lying around, don't dump it just yet for digital. Give it over to Gordo and Don, or especially Leo's new shack.
I wasn't thinking of doing this, but this is actually pretty cool. This is really amazing. Yeah.
Now, this is an amateur television transmitter. And again, this one is for 900 megahertz. And you just hook up your camcorder to it and a 900 megahertz antenna, and you're ready to go. This one, it's got more knobs on it. That's because it has the down converter and the transmitter built into the same box. So if you have two people with these, you can send video in one direction, and then when they drop off, you can send video back. So, you know, with just one box, you're both a transmit station and a receive station.
How about DXing? Is it possible to do long distance with this kind of thing?
Like I said before, with tropospheric ducting, we have received pictures in California from Hawaii. Maybe Gordon can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a brief moment when we had the high-pressure system building up, and it was just enough time for us to receive a picture from Paul, King Henry 6 Hotel Mike Echo. But, Leo, believe it or not, 6 megahertz bandwidth, as you well know, doesn't go very far over the RF airwaves. So ATV around town is maybe a mile or two. So we use repeaters, and we go up on one band and come down on another, and with ATV, we then cover several hundred square miles. But, Don, tell them about BATV and all that you can do when tied into Leo's favorite, the Internet. Don?
Okay. That leads me into some publications. There's the Amateur Television Quarterly magazine, which is probably the best amateur television magazine in the U.S. It's at atvquarterly.com. And in the UK, the premier magazine is CQTV. This is the magazine by BATC, as we call it, the British Amateur Television Club. And if you get a membership in the British Amateur Television Club, as part of that membership, you get a video stream. So that is how we are video streaming the Amateur Television Network's hub repeater, which is Santiago. And I also have one under my own call sign that I can stream when I go out and do a field day event or something like that.
This is one of the things I really love about amateur radio is the amazing range of things you can do. It seems that every ham picks a particular area that they're kind of interested in. But I'm faced with all of this, and it's hard to – it's like a candy store. There's so many things you can do. It's really great.
Well, when you were studying with Gordon, did he tell you had to have a super special license in order to be able to put video with your audio?
No. You do?
Just a technician license is all you need to do ham TV.
That's great. That's great. That's amazing.
Well, you're going to see a whole bunch of this happening, Leo. As I said, there's so many avenues that amateur radio covers, and you'll get on the air and you'll find a sweet spot. You'll find the white line down the middle of the road, and it's just it changes all the time as technology moves on. But you're going to have a lot of fun with this hobby, I'm telling you, and we're so thrilled that Don could come on and tell us about the television. Amateur television is very special.
It's really neat.
I really appreciate you doing all this, Don. This is great.
It looks like, Don, that you also participate in field days. Bob was showing me his handy talkie with video on it.
Yes, I really wish that you had some of the pictures queued up.
I have a few of the field day pictures. In fact, here's the icon right here with the screen on it.
And if you go back, I think 2 pictures in that presentation. Oh, that's our mayor.
To the pretty lady?
Very nice. Very nice.
There's our mayor. Yeah, well, you just scan through these quickly, and I'll stop you if there's...
Sure.
Okay, there's Gordo.
Some funny-looking guy on a hilltop there. What's he...
Can you click on the words Gordon West?
Yeah, why? What's going to happen? It's magic? No, I can't, unfortunately.
Yep, he degraded.
Okay. Okay, there is, you go back again. Back.
I'll keep going.
There we go. Oh, no, forward. Boy, you are fast.
I can move in any direction. Backward, forward, up, down, left, right. These are interesting.
There's my brother on at Field Day.
Yeah, with an old Audio Vox analog TV.
Right, and the transmitter, just like I showed you over on the left-hand side.
There's the knobs.
The video switches.
Yep.
And there's ATV at Field Day.
So there's a role for ATV and Field Day as well.
Right, and there's this. That last picture, you just barely see the mountain peak that we're shooting at.
Wow.
Not the close one, the one in the distance,
Far
right underneath
off.
the branch.
Yeah. Wow. So are there ATV repeaters widely spread out all over the country?
Yes. Actually, there's 2 linked repeater systems right here in Southern California. We have a couple of repeaters up in the Bay Area. And so the Amateur Television Network is definitely not the only source for amateur television in the U.S. The ATCO group in Central Ohio is one of the groups that's doing a lot of experimenting with digital ATV, and also the Orange County Amateur Radio Club is also doing things with digital amateur television.
They told me when I was at the Mount Diablo Amateur Radio Club that they're doing it there too in the East Bay. So there's a lot of people interested in this, and I was kind of surprised when they told me about it. I said, "You mean real TV? You mean slow scan? No, real TV." That's really
well.
cool.
There's slow scan, then there's real TV or amateur television, but it's been analog for a long time. But now there's going to be digital amateur television, and a lot of repeaters are putting digital on as an output, and you can still go in analog. That's because a lot of the transmit equipment is a little bit pricey for the average ham. Probably not for you, Leo, so I expect you to get on digital amateur television real soon.
Hey, Don, really nice to meet you.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Leo.
Yeah, I guess people think I have deep pockets or something. No, I spent it all, Don. I spent it all.
Yeah, well, I have studio envy looking at your wonderful studio.
Yeah. Well, it's great to meet you, Don. I look forward to finding out more about this. This is great. And 73.
Okay, 73.
See, I'm learning
73, Don. I really appreciate you coming on. That was great. Gordo, I've been thinking about something. Can you imagine what's going to happen the mid of May next year? Can you imagine when Leo shows up at Dayton?
For Hamvention? What is it? Hamvention. I'm looking. Well, you know what we may do before then? There's a little convention, and I know Gordon's coming up for it this fall in San Jose. And we were thinking of broadcasting from there, Gordo.
Wow, Pacificon.
Pacificon.
Susie and I and the van and the cat will be there.
Yeah.
So we're thinking I might do the radio show there on Sunday, and we'd get some coverage of Pacificon and get to meet a lot of great hams, and that should be a lot of fun.
Oh, it will.
Great.
I haven't
I'm just thinking about him at Dayton, because Dayton is where all of these things show up at one time.
Yeah.
About 30,000 hams, and I don't know. There's 600 or 700 booths full of everything from you name it to you name it for ham radio, and oh my goodness, you're gonna have a field day there.
By then, I might know a little something about this, because I'm still just such a. Is there a word for a newbie in ham?
Novice.
Novice. I am that. That's for sure.
But that's okay. We're all novices. We really are. We're always learning new things. So nobody knows it all, and we're always looking for new stuff. And one of the things about all of this is you get into the building aspect, and to do all of this, Leo, you have to have the right tools to do this.
Gee, if there were only somewhere we could learn more about all of the tools.
There's a guy, I think he's down in Mississippi.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He has tools like you can't imagine.
There he is.
And he's really got a great video studio. And let's see here. George, are you there?
Yeah, hey, Bob. Hey, Gordo. Hey, Leo.
Hey, George.
George, you have to greet W6TWT in the right way tonight for the first time. How about that?
Yeah, W6TWT from W5JDX.
Well, W5JDX, it's a pleasure to meet you. W6TWT here. This is so much fun. This does not count as a QSO, though, right?
No,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'll bring a card in a couple of weeks, and we'll do an eyeball.
I think I'm gonna. This is an eyeball QSO. I think I'm gonna save my first QSO for when you guys are all here. You can help me do that first one. How about that?
Okay.
That sounds great.
I need some hand holding. I'm scared.
Well, George, we were talking about building, and I think you have done a lot of work this week and brought out all your tools for amateur radio and electronic building and so on. If you got that ready to rock and roll, I'd love to see that.
Well, I sure do. It's a happy coincidence that y'all were talking about tools tonight, because I've got a segment here called Tool Time.
Let's watch.
It's tool time, and we'll begin with a little quiz. Who can identify these? I'll give you one clue. I bet Jerry Ellsworth knows what they are. A good set of screwdrivers is a great place to start for building your toolkit. Let's look at the various types. You're going to want a flathead screwdriver for sure. That's the most basic one there is. If you attended Sony Broadcast School, you might call this a frat braid screwdriver.
He's talking pig Latin. I don't know what he's saying.
At least that's the way it was spelled in the books. You're also going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and more than one size of each of these would probably be a good idea to have. Now, there are various small screwdrivers that are used for adjusting controls and working with small screws. These are called tweakers. The two I'm showing here are made by Exelite Corporation. They also make a nice small Phillips head screwdriver. Another great addition to your screwdriver department would be a set of small jeweler screwdrivers. Some electronic circuits don't take kindly to being adjusted with a metal screwdriver blade, so we use an alignment tool. There's also hex alignment tools in various shapes that are used for adjusting different components. A set of nut drivers is also a handy thing to have, and if you can only have one, get a 1/4 inch. That's the size that fits most computer screws and most electronic equipment. If you've got one of these screwdrivers that has a removable tip, then you're in luck. You already have a 1/4 inch nut driver. Now here's a handy 3-in-1 tool, not so much for building but for servicing and moving around a lot. It's got a Phillips head and a flat head, and on the opposite end you've got a 1/4 inch nut driver. Very convenient. This is an Exelite Model 600. A good set of common wire pliers is real handy to have in your kit. You'll also want some long nose pliers or needle nose pliers, a small set, possibly a large set. You'll need some diagonal wire cutters. They're called dikes. A small set you sure won't, and probably a larger set so that you don't gap up the blades on your small ones. There are a few other hand tools that you're going to find very handy. One is a set of wire strippers and an adjustable wrench, small one preferably, and Bob Heil's favorite, the needle nose vice grips. For installing terminals on the end of wires, you'll likely want a set of crimpers. Now, I don't stop with just crimping myself. I'll also put a little solder on the end of that just to make sure that it holds. I have seen these fail before. Now, the crimping tool also has a few other neat features on it. Most of them have some bolt cutters, so you can cut various sizes of screws, and wire strippers. You're also going to want some cutting tools. A pocket knife's a good place to start. You'll probably want an X-Acto knife too, and possibly even a box cutter could come in handy at times. Now, X-Acto also makes a small saw that's good for sawing PC boards or lightweight plastic and various items you might have to cut. Now, sometimes you'll need a drill, but I often will choose one of these drill bits that fits into a cordless screwdriver. It's real handy, and for small stuff does a fairly good job. Sometimes you'll want to drill a larger hole, and you may not have a bit that size. The Unibit comes to the rescue. This is a stepped drill bit. You drill a pilot hole in the metal first, then you take the Unibit and you just drill down to whatever size of hole you need. If you don't find the tool you need already made, sometimes you just make it yourself. This is a chuck off an old drill that went bad. I saved it, mounted a small unibit to it, and now I can hand drill with the unibit, which is handy in many cases. There's even another real clean way to punch a hole in a piece of aluminum or sheet metal, and that's a hand punch. The punch has different size of dies that you can choose for the hole you need. You just punch through the aluminum, and there's your nice clean hole. And yet another way to make a large hole in a piece of metal is to use a chassis punch. You drill a pilot hole in the middle, you slip it down over the bolt on the chassis punch, you tighten the bit back up, and then you use a wrench to tighten the bolt on the back of the punch. And this will pull a nice smooth hole right into the chassis. One good way to cut aluminum or sheet metal is with a pair of tin snips. They are quite handy. However, there's times you want a little cleaner job or you need to trim something that you can't reach with the tin snips. In that case, you need a nibbler, which just nibbles away little bites out of the metal as you pull the trigger. And what workbench would be complete without a Dremel tool? These are very handy. This one has a cutoff wheel on it right now. But there are a lot of different attachments you can use with a Dremel. There are small drill bits that come in very handy for drilling holes in PC boards. There are also various sanders you can use with the tool, grinding wheels, rotary wire brushes. This is just a great little device, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it. Occasionally, you're going to drop a part in a place that's hard to reach. And when that happens, one of these handy pickup tools is really nice to have. There's a variety of different pickup tools around. This is a medical device that I bought at a Hamfest a few years back, and it has worked really great. There are a variety of different medical instruments that can be handy when working with electronics. A set of tweezers is great for working with small parts. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes. This is a set of compression tweezers that are really nice for holding components while you're soldering. And another item you might want to have is a dental pick. These work really good for removing excess solder from between traces on a PC board. A small adjustable vise with plastic jaws can be nice for holding PC boards while you're soldering. This Panavise is probably the most popular item around. For holding connectors, components, or wires while soldering, a set of helping hands comes in real handy. These are available from a lot of different sources. You can clamp your parts into it to hold them secure. Also, another popular item is the Hemostats. These work for holding items, but also can be used as heat sinks to keep heat off an item while you solder. Like everything else, there's also a variety of soldering irons that you can use. This is a soldering station that we've seen before. I really like to use them. You can get a variety of tips for them. This one is for surface mount work. Here is a chisel tip. It's a little wider, would be good for some connectors. And you can also get a wider chisel tip that would be good for a little heavier work. There's also attachments that add an X-Acto knife blade that's real good for heating up and cutting plastic items. Now for bigger work, you're going to want something a little heavier, and an old Weller soldering gun is hard to beat for those large connectors. Radio Shack carried a line of propane torches. I'm not sure if they still have them or not. This one has a soldering tip on it currently, but you can interchange it with various tips. We're going to put on another tip now that turns it into a little torch, and I found this handy for many uses. A set of test leads can be real nice for testing circuits before you commit them to solder. They come in a variety of shapes. These are for really small components. One final item that I'll mention really comes under the category of test equipment, and that's a volt-ohm meter. You can get them in analog or digital. This one is a Simpson 260. It's been the world standard for decades. I picked up this one at a Hamfest a few years back. Digital meters will work as well. I prefer having one of each. I hope you've enjoyed a look at my favorite tools on today's Smoke and Solder. And to answer our quiz, these are contact adjustment tools. I got them from a friend in college whose father used them to work on pinball machines.
Ah, amazing. George, you always impress.
Thank you, Leo.
And I love the sound effects.
Hey, George.
Look at that. What is that? Bob's got something in his leather. Oh, the dental tools. He's breaking them out.
No, that's contact tools.
Look at that.
George, I've had these since 1955. This is what we used to adjust pipe organ relays.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And of course, they work great on relays for ham radio. And you got to have the thing to clean all this stuff.
And then after you clear your relays, you gotta use the brush.
There you
Need
go.
the brush.
Do you know what,
Yep.
George? You just amaze me with all the stuff you do.
So great.
But you did forget one thing.
The duct tape, yeah.
Well, you know what they say about duct tape?
Duct
It's just
tape.
like the Force. It has a light side, a dark side, and it binds the world together.
Yeah, and I know there's
I
going to be
left out another important tool.
Oh, the hammer. When things don't
Yeah.
go right.
there's going to be somebody on the chat room to tell me what to do with this.
You can follow George at amateurlogic.tv. That's his website. Do you put those videos up there, George, or on YouTube? Where can we see him again?
You can go to amateurlogic.tv and you'll get links to where you can download, or you can watch them on YouTube as well, and there's links there for that. And we should have another one coming out in the next few days. It's being rendered right now.
You do such a great job, and I think that kind of educational stuff is a real gift to the community because, you know, nowadays maybe there isn't the guy down the corner or the shade tree mechanic around the block that you can go to, but thanks to the internet, we got people like George who live right next door. So I think that's really great, George.
Oh, thank you, Leo.
We're so blessed to have him here on Ham
I
Nation
agree,
because
yeah.
he adds so much to this show. Thank you so much, George. I know it's a lot of work every week, and I really appreciate it. And Gordon and I are just thrilled to have you with us. And we'll see what you come up with next week, but it'll be something fun and very useful. I know that. Well, we're about ready to wind down here, and just the hour goes through like minutes, Leo, talking about our favorite hobby, and we're so thrilled and honored that you've now become W6TWT.
I'm so excited. And you know, I'll be back here at least for a little while because I made a pledge to Gordon and Bob that I would personally oversee this show and make sure it's all the show that it deserves to be, because you guys work so hard and George works so hard and all your guests work so hard every week. And I want to make sure that we here at TWIT give you guys the good production quality you deserve. Maybe next week, if you don't mind, I will, because I think all the ICOM stuff is coming this week. We might lay it all out on the table here and take a look at it.
Oh, yeah,
week.
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Explain
That's
it all.
great. And next week we have Susan and Shorty talking all about internet radio linking projects. So you'll enjoy that show a lot next week.
I know about IRLP from your discs, Gordo. In fact, I feel like I know them. So I look forward to meeting them in person.
Well, all of the chat room and all of our listeners and our viewers, if you have a computer, next week you don't want to miss this, because we're going to show you how you can connect it to some of the amateur radio things that we do.
IRLP.
So for now, we're going to be I'm going to get over here and probably dial up 75 meters. I got things happening so we can get down on 3875 or 3860 or wherever, but it's all fired up, and I'll go get to 7800 going, and we'll see some of you there. Leo, thanks for joining us, and I really appreciate everybody there, the people that you are looking to, meaning Alex and Lynn and John and everybody there. I don't know who all's there tonight. They did a spectacular job, and we appreciate everybody for being here for Ham Nation. And we will be back here again next week when we're going to talk about good old computers and ham radio. Right, Gordo?
That's it. All right. Thanks again, Leo. I love that shack. 73.
73, guys.
Okay.
73, Leo.
73.